Oh, good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's having a good morning this morning. And heck knows I ain't. I don't know, though. That's just the way it moves, I guess. Anyways, I'm trying to get two things started up right this second. Let's see. Um, let's move that here. Trying to get everything put together. I might be failing at it, honestly. No, my personal self. Ah, okay. Normally I'd have all this set up, but with the world being what it is, this is how it goes. Okay. All right, people. Wait. Nope. I still gotta do that. This is embarrassing. Let's see. Okay. There we go. All right. Nothing is broken. Perfect. Anyways, these are news articles I thought was sort of kind of interesting for today. And yeah. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started because I think I procrastinated enough. And that is, why the heck, and I seriously mean this, why the heck doesn't good stuff like this happen near me? A Connecticut truck crash covers road in Michelob Ultra, which, if you don't know, it's a form of the bubbly. Now, this is a travesty because I don't know how much of the precious golden liquid was lost. But personally, if it would have happened near me, I would have asked if I could have collected a few free samples from the company, if you know what I mean, huh? And everything, huh? And again, why does things like this never happen close to me? I never understand that. I always hear about stuff like this happening, but I never get to see anything happen in my backyard. But anyways, on June 30th, Connecticut State Police thanked drivers for their patience while crew worked to clear the scene of a spill involving a semi-truck of a large amount of beer. Yeah, Michelob Ultra is a beer. Now, personally, it's not my favorite beer, but free beer is always good beer. I live my life like that, and it has never steered me wrong, personally. And I wonder, the cleanup crew, they can't sell this. So I wonder if the cleanup crew got to take a few free samples home. I wouldn't put it past them anyways. But, yeah. I always hear about stuff like this happening, but it never happens very close to me. And maybe one of these days I'll get lucky. And if anybody else out there gets lucky enough to have it near them, please tell me. Anyways, with the news being what it is right now, I figured I should bring this up, even though personally I don't like soccer all that much, but a lot of people do. So I figured I'd shine a light on Mexican Fan Fest turns into fans being gassed by civil forces. Yeah, they got a little bit rowdy as I can see here. Supposedly this story was written on the 30th, so it probably took place on the 29th. But supposedly, as Mexico Fan Fest at the Porta Flora reached full capacity ahead of their knockout round of the 32 against Ecuador, and I believe they won that. But then again, I thought I stopped looking at it about halfway through. My attention could not be held when it comes to soccer, personally. And yes, it is soccer. I'm American. Fans were seen being attacked by the Mexican civil forces. I'm guessing that's like their state police over there, or down there, I should say, but I feel weird saying down there. You know what I mean? As they were trying to sneak into the event. So basically, the event was way over capacity. People wanted in because they were probably feeling good, and civil forces said no. And here's I guess videos and pictures of people doing weird stuff. Before the event, videos started emerging of fans attempting to climb over the gates and sneak into the fan fest. So yeah, I don't blame them for wanting to celebrate. Everybody loves a good time. So yeah. Anyways, but just always take it in moderation. Just remember that if everybody's having a good time, you're going to have a better time. But if some people in the group are having a bad time, even if you're having a good time, it can always be better if everybody's having a good time, you know? Nobody's good time gets left behind. Anyways, this is more of, well, I'll do this one first instead of that one. Okay? Well, this is on to more gaming news and everything like that. And that is why Cyberpunk 2077 just hit the highest play count in 2.5 years. Well, I think it's a lot of different things, if I'm being completely honest with you. And the main thing I want to point at is, I wish I had it ready. Give me a second. I'll pull up my own Steam account on here, because I have Cyberpunk 2077 in my store, or not in my store, but in my library. And let me actually do that. And I don't think there's anything doxy here. Yeah, there ain't nothing bad here. Anyways, right now Cyberpunk 2077 is $17.99 on the Steam store and everything. And I look at that and I literally think to myself, well, I could really afford, you know, buying a nicer game and everything. But back whenever I was a kid, between 13 to 17, a lot of the games I bought was around $20. And that's because I didn't have a lot of disposable income. So even if I had a system to play the game on, I would always wait till they were either used, on sale, or whatever. And I would never spend more than $30 on a game. Now, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, and again, I wish I would have pulled all this stuff up, but then again, I don't think it's possible. And the only game I can honestly think of that is comparable to Cyberpunk, just off the top of my head, is Crimson Desert. And it is not on sale right now. And it is $69.99. And there's also another game that I can personally think of that is comparable to Cyberpunk 2077. And it came out relatively recently. Again, I believe, when did it come out? It came out in April 22, 2025. And it is currently on sale for $34.99, or the remastered deluxe edition for $41.99. Now, personally, I would like to play Oblivion more than Cyberpunk. But for a lot of people, honestly, like, Cyberpunk is a better deal. And like, most people want to play, let's be honest with ourselves, you can see from the picture on the screen of, I believe that character's named Panam. Yeah, it's definitely named Panam. But it's a mature game. Let me put it like that. It's basically the mature version of GTA, if I want to compare it to that, with like more add-ons, honestly. And it's also the cheapest game of its kind right now, especially with the Steam Summer Sale going on. Which I just bought a few games, and I have a few games that I've had for a while that are on sale that I might go over to Twitch and stream a little bit, honestly, you know? Because I normally stream games on Twitch, and I do this stuff on Rumble and YouTube and everything. I haven't been on Twitch for a while just because, I don't know. I might get into the mood, though, later today or something else. I don't know. Especially since there's a game I ain't played in years that used to be like the staple in my childhood. I'm wondering if I should play the remastered edition or the standard edition. And anyways, I don't know. But yeah, it's only $18, probably $20 with tax. And that's like right in the sweet spot of like games I used to buy whenever I was a kid. So that's probably the reason why the play count is so daggum high right now, is because it's on sale, it's cheap, and it's a really great game and everything. I don't know, though, personally. Anyways, I'm going to go on to the next story here. And this one's a little bit more serious, if I'm being completely honest with you. Honestly, like the rest of the stories of the day are more serious and everything because I couldn't find a lot of bright stuff going on this day and age. But, you know, this is our world, I guess. And that is egg producers will pay $3.3 million and donate 50 million eggs to Seattle price fixing claims. Million in eggs to settle. I said Seattle instead of settle. I don't use that word settle a lot, especially whenever, anyways, I don't want to get into it. But anyways, they're going to donate 53 million in eggs and they're going to pay 3.3 million to everything for price fixing claims. Now, egg price fixing, whenever I go to the grocery store, a dozen eggs are not that expensive personally. And I know they're subsidized by the government the same as milk and bread. That's the reason why milk, bread, and eggs is so daggum cheap, is because they're considered staple foods. And in the United States, they're subsidized by the government. That's why you can go to the store and buy like a loaf of bread for $1.50. You can buy like eggs for like less than $2, and for a dozen eggs less than $2, and you can get a milk for relatively cheap because they're just subsidized by the U.S. government. And they're probably subsidized by other governments around the world because they're just considered staple food, milk, bread, and eggs. So the fact that there was producers price fixing doesn't necessarily shock me, and I'm more okay with it because like it's so cheap. But then again, this really does target the lower consumers here, the people just getting by, because let's be honest with ourselves, if eggs is 50 cents more, like you're gonna buy like 1 dozen eggs instead of 2 dozen eggs, because that's like a 40% price increase or whatever, especially if it's like $1.93 and with tax it's like less than $2.20 or something like that. I don't know though. I know I did the math wrong, but you can probably do the math better than me in your head. I hate math, so I ain't gonna do that anyways. But I keep seeing price fixing stuff like this popping up all over the place. I know there was recently a settlement in California where gas stations were price fixing the price of gas. And that honestly goes into the next story, but it has nothing to do with price fixing the next story and everything. But I think this is more and more common just for the fact that companies have gotten so big. We have so many monopolies and everything. And it used to be in the United States in particular that monopolies were considered so bad that they were broken up for like, I think a period of like almost 30 to 60 years. They were like regularly broken up. The problem nowadays though is margins have gotten so small on everyday goods that if you don't have a monopoly, it's impossible to sell certain things. It's impossible to sell electronics, a lot of food products and things like that unless there's like a monopoly basically. And that's honestly bad to say, but in my personal opinion, the reason why we have such a variety of goods is because there's monopolies nowadays. Because monopolies allow for like different products to be subsidized at a loss, and monopolies allow for like margins to be very small on things they are making a profit on. Like for instance, Twitch doesn't make any money, but Amazon makes a crap ton of money. YouTube makes money, but it didn't make money for years. They were all subsidized by their parent company because their parent company was so big. And it's the same thing with eggs. It's the same thing with milk. If you look at the food industry in the United States and probably worldwide, there's only a handful of companies that basically keep the wheels turning in the world. And if we broke up these companies tomorrow, I know a lot of people would be cheering for breaking up these companies tomorrow, but I think you would see your grocery stores, let's just say variety would go down relatively quickly just because different products just don't make money, or the margins are so small that that's just the way it goes, honestly. But then again, I don't know. I really don't know. Anyways, on to the next story. Now, all right. I'm moving the wrong daggum thing here. I got like three different controls in front of me, and I don't know which one to do. I'm gonna pull up this right here, and then I'm gonna go straight to a headline. This next story is California gas tax rises 63.4 cents per gallon. Now, I tried to find this exact headline, but that's like the Google headline on like the main Google search thingy or whatever. But anyways, crap, it did a thingy here. Wait, 3, 2, 1, ding. Wait, what is this? Stop. Oh, it did it. Yay. Anyways, California gas tax said to increase Wednesday, which is today. Travelers gear up for July 4th weekend. Now, everybody knows that taxes do not go down. They only go up. But it's personally poetic that they're raising taxes whenever, like, I know, like, the whole situation with like gas and everything is being alleviated because of all that being. Anyways, I don't even know what to go into in that situation. I don't even want to. But like, why are they increasing taxes? And why are they increasing it by like 63 or 60 something cents or whatever? And I'm just thinking to myself, I know Californians have been complaining about the gas tax and the gas prices in California for so long. But the government, I guess, is so money hungry that they don't care what people say. And that's honestly that's the worst thing in this situation, is that in California, it seems like the people speak and the government just does what it wants. And that's really the worst thing in this whole scenario, is every time I look at California news, it really does feel like the people speak, but Californians, like politicians and business leaders, if you want to call them that, not oligarchs, just simply do what they want and everything. And this is the main reason why if California tried to go independent from the United States, I wouldn't fight them. I'd be like, go your own way, because I don't want that sort of mentality to spread. You know what I mean? Where I live, there's a very nice sense of there is repercussions for your actions and everything. And I honestly feel like up north and out west, there's not that sort of mentality in everything. And honestly, I'm kind of shocked that people live that way. But that's just me personally and everything. But the fact that the California gas tax is constantly increasing while people are complaining and everything is frankly like, it honestly is frankly shocking to me personally, and everything. But an increase in California gas tax is set to take effect this week, just as travelers are gearing up for July 4th weekend exclusions. Oh, excursions. Well, I'll tell you what, I can't even read this day and age, to be completely honest with you. I don't even know. But according to the California Department of the Tax and Fee Administration, which that's a diabolical department in my opinion, I don't know. I say a flat tax for everything and anything, honestly. Like, the government needs to learn to live within its means, as far as I'm concerned. And this goes for every state, every country, every form of government. Like, I think that we should have a set tax for everything, and the government should live within its means. That's just me personally. But personally, too, I don't mind paying more in taxes, because I paid a lot in taxes in my lifetime. Like, I paid more in taxes than the average person in my lifetime. But personally, too, if the government was living within its means, I personally would not have a problem with paying more in taxes. I personally would have no problem paying, heck, I think as much as 55% in taxes, honestly. But I need to see the government actually living within its means. I want to see a balanced budget. I think Americans, and I think most people in most countries, are perfectly willing to pay high taxes, even extremely high taxes, because that we can always adjust our cost of living and different other stuff like that, as long as like the government was like had a balanced budget. But as long as the government is spending, I can't even talk straight, is spending like an extreme amount of money and going into more and more debt every single year, I really feel like my taxes should not be going up but going down, because I really feel like if the government is going to spend so much money where it's going to go into so much debt, that personally I should be allowed to like live high on the hog while the government is like basically making sure I have a debt of like 200 plus thousand, because I think of the average US citizen, if you were to break it down, has like more than 200K in debt per citizen or something. If you were to do the national debt per person by person basis. But an increase in I've already read that part. The increase will raise California's gas tax to about 63 cents per gallon. Just put that into perspective. I believe California's like gas, last I looked, was around $7 a gallon. 63 cents of that $7, which it's probably higher. I hope it's lower. I really do hope it's lower than like $7 right now, because that's diabolical to me. But then again, y'all make so much more money than most other people in the country. Maybe y'all can afford that. I don't know. Maybe if I were to do it like do the whole economic thing right or whatever, maybe it breaks down to the same prices here. I don't know. But it's kind of diabolical that y'all are paying such high taxes on gas and everything. But the thing that I think a lot of governments too have got to realize, that even if we were to replace every car on the road with an electric car, there's still going to be high demand for diesel, because diesel produces high torque engines, which is needed to like actually like move freight across countries and continents. So even if all gasoline cars are completely gone, we're still going to have to produce gasoline as a byproduct of diesel, because diesel is still going to be in the same demand. Not only that, but a lot of plastics and different other chemicals are produced from oil and everything else. So taxing gas because it's bad, it really doesn't help solve the problem, because there is literally thousands of products that need oil. And even if you decided to cut one of those products, you're still going to have the other 999 of those products that are still going to be vital for the economy. And it's not kind of like, oh, we can phase out diesel. No, we have to have diesel engines. It's not economically feasible or even possible to phase out diesel engines. Like, that's the reason why they have this depth thing in most modern like trucks and everything. It's not because, oh, we need it. It's because like we kind of need to get the diesel thing in cities, because like there's so many daggone people living in a small and everything. I don't know. I could like struggle on for hours talking about this, but I'm kind of going off on different like side quests at this point as far as the conversation is concerned, honestly. I don't know though. People gonna be people no matter what. Greed's gonna be greed no matter what. All I can say is everybody hold on to your butts. Anyways, this is something that actually brightened my day a little bit. And the main reason why is because this either means one of two things. And that is gold losses ease after worst quarter in 13 years as interest rate fears hit bullion or whatever. Now, I've been noticing silver and gold prices going down recently, and I'm actually all for it, because silver is a vital industrial metal to our economy and everything. And yeah, it's basically using smartphones, TVs, and computers. So with the AI chip shortage thing going on, I really don't want to see silver above $80 an ounce, or Lord, above $100 an ounce, really, and everything. I really don't want to see that. So I'm actually very happy to see gold prices, and especially silver prices, drop a little bit. But it says gold prices edged into positive territory on Wednesday, reversing morning losses after the precious metal closes in its worst quarter in 13 years in 3 months at the end of June. And I hope that that means that people are feeling a little bit better. It either means one of two things, though. One, people are feeling better about the future of everything, or two, everybody's out of money. Now, personally, I don't see the rumblings of everybody out of money, so I hope that means that people are making better or making other decisions with their money instead of buying gold and everything. Of course, gold just keeps up with inflation. You don't make money on gold, and you daggum sure might lose it. So, don't invest in gold unless you want something shiny to sit on a shelf for 50 plus years, honestly, is my personal advice with that. And that is not financial advice. That is just satire. That is not advice. That is just satire. Anyways, the yellow metal began a second half in 2026 on the back foot before rebounding, and early afternoon trade gold futures were last seen hovering just above the flat line of $4,041.30. The white spot price. Oh, wow. See, never mind. I want to go into that. Were 0.49 higher at 4,200 or 4,020. Dadgummit. This always happens when I try to read. I always get tongue-tied. I can read it perfectly in my head, but like reading it and speaking aloud always like messes me up, honestly. And everything. Look, gold's constantly went up since the year 2000. Is that going to happen the next 20 years? Who the heck knows, honestly. The main reason that people I know buy gold and silver is to get around taxes for like passing down money to their kids, because they'll take cash, buy bullion, stick it in a closet, and then at the end of their life they'll just put it in a shoebox and hand it over. Now, that is probably illegal. It most likely is illegal, but that's why the people I know buy gold and silver, is because they want to pass it down to the kids, and they don't want to pay a high taxes, you know, because land is taxed, bonds and stocks are taxed. Gold and silver, though, you can just slide it underneath the table. But that's not financial advice. That's not personal advice. And please don't do that, because that's probably illegal wherever the heck you are. You know what I mean? But anyways, that's the way I see that. Anyways, I don't know, though. Who knows this day and age? Who knows anyways? Anyways, on to the next story. And this is something that I'm really not surprised of, and I'm honestly like wondering why it took this long. And that is the Kalshi ordered to pause Michigan sports betting. Now, we all know that sports betting is like illegal in most states and everything. And the Kalshi sheets, they basically, as far as I know anyways, I don't really use them because I don't just gamble and everything. But the Kalshi sheets basically, you basically bet on if there's going to be a touchdown in like the first 10 minutes of the game and different stuff like that. You know, I guess I have no idea how it works. I guess I need to go on there and look at it. But then again, I ain't one to, you know, it's basically gambling. Let's just be honest with you. This is just gambling and everything. And I honestly feel like I could probably make some cash at it, but at the same time, I do not want to fall into this trap, basically. Then again, like the few times in my life when I've gone to a casino, I didn't make much money, but I was always up. So, yeah. That being said, please don't fall into the trap of gambling. I have known thousands of people that have gambled in their lifetime, and probably only 10 of them have actually like been up at the end of the day, and they're only up now because they walked away from the table. Please, I'm begging you, it's just not worth it. I don't know though, but I'm honestly surprised it took this long for them to like, I'm guessing this is only in Michigan. I don't know. I guess this is a state by state basis basically. And everything. Anyways, the county judge on Monday ordered, blah, blah. It just basically says that so they've only like issued an order for it to stop for the next 2 weeks, basically. So the temporary restraining order, so it's basically they did a temporary restraining order because of a lawsuit against them in the county, the company, sorry, not county, filed by the Michigan Attorney General, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, like, see, the Sports Betting Act right here. Now, most states have sports betting acts and different stuff like that. So you're probably going to see a lot of these. Now, whether or not Kashi wins this lawsuit, I think is 100% determined on two things. One, do they already have a gambling industry in the state? If they do, then, like, I don't think their chances of winning is great, but I don't know. And two, how much money is made? If Kashi is making a crap ton of money, they can just keep throwing money at this until they just basically go away and everything. And I don't know, man. Like, this is lawfare. Like, who knows what the heck? It really depends on the judge. It determines who has the most amount of money, how upstanding is the judge. Sometimes if a judge has been like messing with a lawsuit for like 2+ years, the judge is just like, I want to get this over with. What do you want? And that's why people win lawsuits that drag on for years, because either the victim or the judge is just like, I've had enough. This has got to stop. You know, like once you have a certain amount of, like once you have over $700 million, there's really nothing anybody can do, but I don't know, man. Anyways, I figured I would shine a small spotlight on that. Anyways, wait a minute. Where is that at? I don't see that. Give me a second to pull something up. Here it is. Did not take long. Okay. Our next story. Okay. Our next story is this. Ford recalling more than 741,000 vehicles because of parking system issue. Now, as somebody who has dealt with this before, because years ago I had a car that had a recall on it. Sometimes they will reach out to the owners of these cars if it's a serious enough violation, but in personal experience, I was never reached out to. My warranty was valid and everything, but they just never reached out to me and everything. Maybe because of, I'm guessing, some sort of clerical error that some employee made. I'm not speaking ill of the company in that regard, I suppose you could say. So, I don't know what Fords are being recalled, but it's 741,000 of them. So if you purchased one in the last 5 years, I would personally just Google your vehicle just to see if you might be on the list, because that's a lot, 741,000 and everything. Anyways, Ford is recalling more than 741,000 vehicles in the U.S. because of transmission issues may damage the parking system, which could increase the risk of crash or injury. So a faulty transmission is a very expensive fix. If you've ever replaced a transmission on a vehicle, sometimes the transmission costs just as much as the vehicle. In the case of one of my vehicles outside, that is 100% the case, honestly, and everything. Ford is recalling more than 741,000 vehicles in the U.S. because of transmission issues may damage the parking system, which could increase the risk of crash or injuries. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration said in a report the recall includes the Ford F-150, the Lincoln I cannot pronounce that. The Ford Explorer, the Lincoln Navigator, and the Ford Expedition. So basically all large SUVs that have probably, oh wait, this is the years between 2028 and 2021. The only reason they're issuing this recall is, one, it's been 5 years since the last one probably rolled off the line. So I guarantee you these cars, if they were somewhat faulty, they're probably on their second or third owner, so the warranty is invalid. I know the warranty a lot of the times cannot be transferred from one owner to another, so I guarantee you a lot of these Ford Explorers or Lincoln Navigators or Ford F-150s are on their third owner right now because they were lemons and everybody knows they're lemons, so Ford probably ain't gonna have to pay out squat because the warranties are invalid on probably, I would say, high 60% of these cars, just like spitballing here. Because it's 2026. It's been 5 years since the last one rolled off the line. You know what I mean? So honestly, if you the original owner, like just look it up. If you have any of those vehicles in between those years, like I know sometimes I know they have different transmissions for like the same vehicles, because I know on my like vehicles outside, there's like 3 different transmissions and like 2 different engines for like one of my vehicles outside. And I got the best combination of both. Yeah. And everything. But I know not all transmissions are the same. So even though you do have a vehicle in this model year and it's the same like make and model and everything as the vehicle just described, that doesn't mean you have a faulty one. So don't just be like, oh my gosh, and be like, just look it up. You might have you need to make sure you have like, because I don't know. Anyways, I'm just saying. Because, I don't know though. Anyways, on to the next engine. Now, we all know about the chip shortage because of AI, and it's frankly annoying. I can't buy RAM anymore. I had the same thing. I would always buy like 16 gigabytes of RAM for my computers whenever I built a new one for different projects and stuff I'd be working on, and then I would upgrade over time, and then the RAM would be cheap back then. I know I got $50 RAM kits that I bought like 3 years ago that are like $180 now. I literally thought about like selling some of it, but anyways, that's another side thing. And that is small energy makers gain big momentum in data centers. Now, if you thought that buying that push mower or buying a small lawnmower, a small riding lawnmower, or maybe even a generator, that wasn't going to be touched by AI, oh, buddy boy, I have things for you. Now, in this right here, they have a large diesel generator and everything. I guess that could be gas. I know a lot of generators that big though are diesel and everything. But for data centers looking for off-grid power, small engines are cheap and readily available. I agree, they are cheap and readily available. And we need them cheap and readily available because I need my grass cut. Honestly, I really do need my grass cut. So please, take the RAM, but please leave my lawnmower alone. My grass, man. Anyways, in a few years, the idea of using hundreds of small engines to power gigawatts of a data center capacity could have seemed ridiculous, but not so today. More hyperscalers are seeking to hook their data centers off-grid power, bypassing lengthy wait times to connect to off-grid. Dadgummit, I'm getting tongue-tied again. Data centers to off-grid power, bypassing lengthy wait times to connect to the grid. So I'm guessing they don't have enough power to connect these places to the grid. So they're basically sitting, not doing anything for probably years and everything. But anyways, the smaller natural gas turbines. Yeah, natural gas turbines that have shorter wait times than the heavy stuff, supposedly. So whenever they say natural gas turbines, they literally mean combustion engines that are in like small generators and stuff. Because I know I have a generator that can run off gasoline and it can also run off natural gas and everything, and it can literally run off both. So when they say natural gas here, they literally just mean a combustion engine. Honestly, they literally just mean a small generator, like that you would buy at Home Depot. Maybe bigger, maybe heavier duty than like the average generator that you would seek at Home Depot. But that's basically what they're talking about. So I love the fact that everybody has to go green except these big AI companies that are basically like, let's buy a bunch of tiny engines and like rope them together so that we can power our data centers and everything. Skynet is 100% like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, I think everybody knows that their RAM was going to get affected by AI, but I didn't think that people thought that their lawnmowers and their generators was going to get affected by AI. I don't know, man. I don't know that much about it. I didn't read too much into it. I might be completely wrong, but anyways, AI strikes again. Anyways, I don't know though. Oh. Anyways, I'm going to end off on this one for today and everything. And that is, Harvard professor with polarizing alien theories is picked to lead the new White House UFO Council. Now, I didn't know there was a UFO Council personally. I don't really follow it all too that closely, but I saw this story and I thought to myself, is there a UFO Council for the White House? I get maybe the Air Force might have had one because it's a rare enough, or not a rare enough, but a common enough occurrence where they probably just have somebody's like butt in a seat to fill that role, because you know how they do it in the military. If they might need it, they just go ahead and put somebody in the chair, and then they assign more tasks as needed, basically. If they don't need them to do anything, then guess what? You just got an easy retirement, basically. And everything. But this really kind of made me chuckle that they got a UFO Council lead for the White House. Now, I don't know if he's talking to the president or not. That just, you know... But a polarizing Harvard astronomer known for splashy theories... Is that splashy or... I want to say splashy. I don't know. If you write in these articles, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Just use plain language. Like, why do you got to use like all these abstract words and stuff? I never get that. Why you got... Like, you need to make your news just straight facts, easy to digest with a little bit of flair, you know? But like all these abstract words and stuff, like, you're not presenting a poem here, you're presenting the news. But that's just me personally. About aliens visits has been tapped by the White House to lead a team of outside scientists to study the national security risks of posed by UFOs. Anyways, I have no idea how to pronounce this name. I have no idea. It's AVI... What? Avon? That does not sound like an American name. If you are American, sir, I apologize. But yeah. Anyways, studied black holes, served as the head of the Harvard Astronomy Department until 2020. Was recently appointed to the helm of a new scientific advisory council tasked with investigating the origins of mysterious orbs and other objects reported by military personnel in recent years. It's part of President Donald Trump's push to declassify more information about the issue. Personally, all these orbs and UFOs, I really just think it's different Army experiments. It's either Army experiments using tech or Army experiments using psychedelics. Like, they were doing so much like stuff with psychedelics in like the 70s, and I personally don't believe that they stopped doing tests with psychedelics on American soldiers and different other stuff. I think they're still doing tests with psychedelics and stuff, especially since they used to like those soldiers and stuff with LSD and other stuff back in like the 70s and 80s and everything else. I really do think that they probably dropped something in the water of a bunch of military bases and then like 60 personnel members see like weird stuff in the sky, but they're not actually seeing weird stuff. They're just tripping balls in an army experiment. And if you think the U.S. military is above such actions, you need to do your research. I don't think that the U.S. military or the U.S. government has stopped experimenting on the U.S. Population and the U.S. military members. And if you've ever served in the U.S. military for more than about 3 years, you probably don't think that what I'm saying is too far-fetched, personally. Then again, I have no idea this whole thing and everything. But, yeah, anyways, they doing stuff, but that's just the way of the world, I suppose. I'm going to leave off for today, everything. If you stop by, I really appreciate you being